Are you planning to make a move to Alberta and want to decide between two cities, Edmonton or Calgary? Well, a lot of people ask me this question, and today I have a guest who's actually part of my team, and she's with a real broker, a real estate agent. And so she's a guest speaker, and she actually lives in Edmonton and really knows it very, very well. And as well, I've actually lived a short period, but it was many, many years ago. So of course, I live in Calgary, as you know, and we're going to actually take a look at the pros and cons of each of these cities in this video. So we're going to get started right after this. So welcome to my channel, Living in Calgary, Alberta. My name is Dean Martin. I'm a real estate agent here in Calgary. And if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing if you want to learn everything about living in Calgary. And of course, ring that bell. That way you get updated on my next video. So as I mentioned today, we have a special guest. Her name is Sonia Ebanks. Welcome, Sonia, to my channel.
Thank you, Dean. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, that's great. So a little bit about Sonia. She is on my team, and she works out of Edmonton. She's been living in Edmonton, I think, or selling real estate in Edmonton for about 5 years now. So she really knows Edmonton really, really well. And that will be a really good source of information today. That's why I brought her on to explain maybe more about the living in Edmonton. You know, we have a lot of people trying to decide, is Calgary better or is Edmonton better? And of course, it really has a lot to do with what, meets your family needs. So we're going to discuss that today. So once again, Sonia, welcome. And maybe tell us a little bit about, why you love that Edmonton and why you chose Edmonton over Calgary.
Thanks, Dean. So I moved to Edmonton because a lot of family pressure, actually, initially. But then eventually I sort of recognized that, we have a young teen and all my family members are here. So as she grows up, she will not have that family support. So that was initially the reason that we moved here. And plus I was very familiar with Edmonton and, because it's the city I came from when I moved to Calgary initially. So I was very familiar with Edmonton already and really liked the city. So it was an easy decision to come back. So a little bit of family, a little bit of business, a little bit of a mix of both.
Okay. Well, fantastic. That's good. So maybe what we can start off with is let's, for people that are not really familiar with our location, we're going to jump onto a map here, but Edmonton is kind of central, like I guess southern central to Alberta, and Calgary is just south about 2.5 to 3 hour drive, just depending on what part of the city. So Calgary is about 1.6 million in the greater Calgary, and then what is Edmonton?
Edmonton is 1,461,000, so just about 1.5 mil.
Yeah, so very similar. Yeah, very similar. Okay. And then as far as, let's talk a little bit about the economy. Like a lot of people want to know, how's the economy in Calgary? I know Calgary, we're booming right now. There's a lot of people moving into Calgary. They're coming from Toronto and Vancouver just because the cost of living is so high there. They're making that move to Calgary. But there's also a good support system here as far as good jobs, good paying jobs. And of course, oil and gas is very strong, but Calgary over the last decade or so has really diversified. So we have a lot of technical type industry. So IT is really big. It's kind of like a hub here for Canada. So a lot of companies are making that move. We have also the entertainment industry is really big, as well as logistics, finance, aerospace. So Calgary is really booming, and that's kind of why a lot of people are choosing Calgary. So tell us a little bit about what's going on and what drives people to Edmonton, and what as far as income and jobs and careers.
Okay, so much like Calgary, we are very energy based. So the dominant economy for us is oil and gas, of course, and energy.
Mhm.
Um, so we're considered the capital city of oil since the 1940s. It was dubbed the oil capital of Alberta. So of course there's lots of jobs within that industry. We're also considered the cultural and educational government section. So there's a lot of government work here, including Alberta Healthcare. I think Alberta Healthcare employs 123,000 employees just in the healthcare.
Mhm.
And some of our top industries, of course, are agriculture, manufacturing, some advanced technology as well. We're seeing a lot of that, and financial and of course tourism. We get quite a lot of tourists with some of our attractions here.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, so Edmonton is definitely a city that's doing very well. Again, for because Alberta is kind of the hot
Hmm.
spot where a lot of people are coming in because of the affordability factor.
Right,
So
right,
yeah, so
right.
maybe let's just talk about that a little bit. The housing, like obviously, housing is a big part of everybody's cost of living,
Mm-hmm.
and so maybe tell us a little bit about the housing pricing in Edmonton. Maybe let's I have some notes here just regarding as of June 1st. We get our updates for the month.
Mm-hmm.
What the average detached home and townhouse and apartment?
So as of June, actually June 21st, right now, the average price is 499,000 for a single detached home. For a townhouse, 190,000 to 70, and for an apartment, 262,000, just to almost 263,000
Wow.
for an apartment. Yes,
Hmm.
so considerably, a little bit different, I think, from the Calgary market. Uh, just a note, I had a couple in this weekend from Toronto, actually, and they said the biggest thing that they notice with our economy is the price of housing and the price of gas.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Yes, as a matter of fact, they thought that that was incredible. The difference was just incredible. What you can get for an apartment here
Mhm.
would probably buy you a parking spot in Toronto. A little extreme of an example, but that's sort of the correlation they were making, that it was just such a vast difference.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I get that a lot as well. Like even for Calgary. Now, Calgary is more expensive for
Mm-hmm.
housing than Edmonton.
Mm-hmm.
So as of I have June 1st, and really the prices have actually kind of, I would say this month have crept up even a little bit more than this. So a detached is the average is 674,000 for a detached
Mm-hmm.
home. A townhouse is 390,500, and apartments are running just shy of 300,000, so 298. So so we're
Mm-hmm.
seeing there's a big amount of pressure because there's such low inventory and such high demand.
Yeah.
A lot of people are actually choosing the townhouses because that's more affordable, and we're seeing a huge jump. I mean, they actually grew probably percentage-wise the most over the last couple of years,
Mm-hmm.
and now we're seeing the apartments finally, taking off in value as well too. So we are seeing a big
Mm-hmm.
adjustment, and again, the people that are thinking about moving to Calgary or Edmonton, either are much more affordable than Toronto or Vancouver. So either way,
Absolutely.
it's more affordable. But let's talk
Mm-hmm.
about lifestyle. Again, that's I think education is a big part of everybody's life for most families. If you got kids in school, so the public system, I think, in both cities, I think would be similar. Now you've lived in
Very.
both, and you might be able to speak on that a little bit more than I can.
Mm-hmm.
So how's the public education in Edmonton?
Excellent, excellent public education. We have both public and private education,
Mhm.
very similar to Calgary system. We also have, of course, post-secondary. You have the University of Alberta, which has 5 campuses here, so they're quite spread out. So you don't have, it's not so centralized that you can only go to one campus. There are so many campuses that are possible for different courses.
Mhm.
And then we have NATE, the Northern Alberta Institute of Technology, which is self-descriptive. It does a lot of technological types of education. I went there myself, so I very familiar with NAIT. It's a fabulous institute. We also have the MacEwan University, which is, and Concordia University. So we have quite a diverse education system and institutes, plus many other colleges as well. But those are sort of the main ones. So there's a very high focus on these post-secondary institutes for post-secondary education for our youth and indeed some of our young adults or middle-aged adults or whoever wants to go back to school.
Exactly.
Quite available.
And then I would say Calgary is very similar. We have the University of Calgary as well, and we have SAIT, which is Southern. You have NAIT, we have SAIT, so same thing for the technology. And then we have lots of, again, various colleges. And as far as the public system for kids that are grade, kindergarten up to grade 12, we do have the public systems, and then we have charter schools as well as private schools for people that choose to pay, their own tuition rather than the public. So again, I would say both cities would be similar as far as education opportunities. Let's talk a little bit about transportation. So I know in Calgary we have the LRT, which is the light rail. In Calgary we call it the C train. And so there's, this is always growing as well. It's a big city, and we have what we call urban sprawl for people that may be living in Toronto and Vancouver, where they kind of build up. Calgary kind of builds out. So getting around for a lot of people, if you have to travel a lot, a car is a lot better way to go, just because, again, it just takes so much time to go on the transit. But we do have transit as far as LRT, and we have a north to south and an east to west kind of system. And then, of course, there's a whole bus system where it integrates with that as well. So what's Edmonton? What do they have for transportation for public?
Again, Dean, very, very, very similar transportation. We have the same thing, the LRT system, and of course the bus system. Busing system, of course, is the slowest because it takes so much longer with having to connect. But the LRT system, we have actually a brand new line going in right now, not far from where I live actually, and it's called the Valley Line. And this Valley Line is going from the west of Edmonton all the way through central and then right into the city to downtown. This has been long awaited for, so a lot of folks around here are very happy about that. And of course we have the north-south and then an east-west. So once completed, and this line is actually going to be stopping at West Edmonton Mall, one of our big attractions here. So I can't imagine. I mean, they have so much business now that it's going to increase the flow of traffic to that particular mall. So I don't know if you're familiar with it, but West Edmonton Mall is one of the largest malls in North America. It's the number 17 largest mall in the world.
Wow.
And I'll tell you a little bit more about that. We can talk a little bit more about that, but that's sort of our transportation system. Of course, there's, traveling by car, as you said, here too. It's much better if you can travel by car. And of course, there's the bike system. We have bike trails and biking lanes on the roads here. Not everywhere, but sort of more in the more central areas. And I think they have that downtown too in Calgary. I remember seeing that quite a lot. And then, of course, there's the new scooter. I'm sure you've seen these scooters. They're now coming into suburbia, where you rent a scooter and you just scoot around from place to place, and you rent it for a period of time and you drop it off when you're done and somebody picks it up. So that's getting quite popular here. I'm seeing them everywhere in suburbia right now. So it's
Calgary has the same, and definitely people like it.
Oh, yeah, very much. It's just such an easy way to travel, especially if you're not wanting to Uber everywhere. You don't have a vehicle. It's just such an easy way to travel and fun. I can see it being. I haven't tried it myself. Maybe I will, but it's probably a lot of fun.
Yeah. I haven't tried it either, but every time we go downtown, we definitely see them, and actually even outside of downtown, you're starting to see them more as well.
Right.
Calgary though also has a very very large. If you ride bikes, again, all the paths and everything around Calgary how many miles it is, but it's a lot. And so there's
right.
a really large system. If you ride bike, I think in both cities they have
Right.
that for you as well.
Very
So
similar. Very similar. Yeah. Hmm.
let's talk about the again the culture and attractions. You mentioned West Edmonton Mall. I've been there. I haven't been there in a few years, but huge mall, right? And they have
Huge mall.
huge.
Huge
And
mall.
I'll let you explain it a little bit. That's one of the many things that Edmonton offers. But go ahead.
Sure. So West Edmonton Mall is, as I said, one of the largest attractions and one of the largest malls in the world. In fact, it's the largest in North America. It's 10 city blocks wide and 10 city blocks long, 5 city blocks wide. It houses, I know, it houses a hotel, a sunken ship, like a full-size sunken ship, a submarine, a water park, and again, the water park is actually the largest in North America. It has 17, I believe, 17 slides, and they're just actually now introducing a new slide, and there's a competition to name the slide. I'm gonna see if I can win that $10,000. But it has every story you could ever want, that you could ever think of. It's in 3 phases, 2 floors. It takes to walk around it, and I know this because I walk around it when the weather is inclement. I walk the mall as part of my exercise program, and it takes me 25 minutes to do upper floor and 25 minutes to do lower. So it takes an hour to walk the whole mall. And
Wow.
I'm walking at speed, so you can imagine.
Does it still have that ice rink as well? I think it had a.
It does. It has a full size ice rink, and we actually have our locals play there and the kids playing there. So you can go and sit and watch. Have a Timmy's on one side or a Starbucks on the other, and just watch the kids play hockey. Sometimes the Oilers are there, and they'll have a just sort of an event, and they'll be there and they'll be signing autographs and whatnot. But it's a pretty nice rink, and the skating, of course, for the kids. Figure skating. It's beautiful. You can just go and watch. It's just a beautiful place.
Yeah, and so who are the Oilers?
So the Edmonton Oilers are our local hockey team. And we have a friendly rivalry, as you know, Dean, between our Edmonton Oilers and your Calgary Flames.
Yeah,
and so it's tough. It's a tough one for me because I'm caught between 2 cities. If I say the Flames, go Flames, then I get beat up. So I just tend to stay quiet at the playoffs. I just sit there and just I don't cheer for any one side.
Right.
Yeah,
so
I love them both.
Exactly, yeah. So maybe tell us some more about some of the attractions and other teams, etc.
Yeah, so we have, of course, our Edmonton Oilers. That's our NFL, and then our CFL is the Edmonton Elks. We also have those are our 2 major teams, of course, and then there's lots of little minor leagues and what have you here. We have another attraction is the Valley Zoo, fabulous, gorgeous zoo. To walk through. It even has a winter light show that you can walk through in the evening, and have hot chocolate with the kids and marshmallows and s'mores throughout, and it's just a beautiful place to walk through and take your kids for the day. We have Heritage Park. We have Calgary Stampede. No, sorry, pardon. No, I'm in the wrong city now. We have. The Ukrainian Cultural Heritage Center. We have Fort Edmonton here. We have Klondike Days, which is it's full of fun. We now call it K Days. It used to be called Klondike Days, but now it's been changed to just plain old K Days. But fun rides and great food, and everybody's all dressed up and in their cowboy gear and the Klondike gear, and it's really just a fabulous sight. And there's a parade as well at the beginning of the show, so really great. Yeah,
that'd be somewhat similar to the Calgary Stampede as far same timing. Yeah, okay.
Same timing, just about the same timing. And then we have White Avenue, which is really very eclectic. It has lots of stores, lots of restaurants, lots of very unusual stores with unusual fare, lots of restaurants, sidewalk cafes. And in the summer, there's festival after festival and street performances on that street. Just a really nice strip to walk down and just enjoy yourself. I think there is one similar in Calgary, in Kensington, Dean.
Okay.
But yes, it's quite the scene. And Edmonton, actually, I did not know this until about 5 years ago, but Edmonton is actually known as the festival city.
All right.
So we have so many festivals. We're a week out from July, and in July I counted 21 different events on the weekends. 21, and that's amazing. And right here in June, we've still got a week to go, and we've got, I believe, another 6 events going on the weekends.
Wow.
So everything from jazz festivals, comedy, pride parades, Taste of Edmonton, you name it, we have it here. So,
wow. Okay.
You could always find something to do on the weekend for sure. Always.
Yeah, so it's a busy city with lots to do, and which is really good to know, because again, a lot of people will want to know that. And if anybody has any questions, please feel free to leave a comment below for either Sonia or myself. We'll definitely answer those questions. So feel free to reach out by commenting below, or again, if you want to talk to us directly, again, you can reach out to us. All our contact information will be in the description below. So, so as far as Calgary's concerned, as far as attractions, we have some similar things. Of course, as Sonia mentioned, we have the football team, we have the hockey team, and so again, the rivalry. How do we say that? Anyway.
Rivalry. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. It's always going on. There's always banter and going back and forth, so it's kind of fun that way. But we also have the Calgary Stampede, which is actually worldwide known. Like, people fly in from all around the world to take that event in. So if you're into chuck wagon races and bucking broncos and that kind of thing, plus there's the big fair, the rides and that kind of thing. It is a lot of fun. We also have a local amusement park. It's called Callaway Park. So if you've got kids, that's you can get a season's pass for pretty cheap, actually, and they can go several times and get a lot of value out of that. We also have a zoo, and Calgary Zoo is very popular. Same thing, it sounds like, that Edmonton has, is that they have the lights during the Christmas season. So if you want to go down and take in the zoo, it's a lot of fun for a lot of families as well. We have a heritage park as well, and again, if you want to kind of see, it's one of the largest outdoor museums, I believe, in Canada. And so if you want to take in and learn about the history of this area and part of Canada, it's definitely a fun thing to take in for families. And we also have, it's called COP, which is Canada Olympic Park. Yeah. Anyway, so it's a place where you can actually ski. They have a ski hill, and they have it's a ski hill in the winter, and in the summer you can actually, if you're into mountain biking, you can do mountain biking, and they have all sorts of set up for hockey. If you're into sports, they have all the sports center as well. So again, it's very popular for families to take in. Throughout the summer, throughout the whole year, we have lots of festivals as well. So there's a whole list of them. You can Google them, and of course, there's a ton of different festivals. So lots to do, lots of things to do. One of the things that I personally like, and a lot of people do like, is our proximity to the Rocky Mountains. From Calgary, it's only about an hour drive, and you're in the Canadian Rockies, which is just magnificent. If you've never experienced it, it's one of the things that I never get tired of. So if you're into skiing, hiking, fishing, again, sightseeing, you definitely will enjoy that. being so close to it, you can go quite easily for the weekend or just a day trip. It's really quite nice.
So weather-wise, so definitely there is a difference in the weather, in particular the winter. So of
Mm.
course, Edmonton is being further north is considerably colder than is Calgary. We do have the four seasons, although they turn around pretty quick. I know this year, I don't know what happened. We went from winter right into to summer.
Right,
We had
right.
about a week or two of spring. But that's, I liken that to climate change. But
Mhm.
definitely our winters are colder. Our winters go from October to April. Um, but we don't we don't get any break. Once it snows here, the snow stays. It's here for good. You can
Mhm.
shovel it all you want. It's not going anywhere. It just gets higher and higher. Um, it, it, but our streets are cleared very nicely, so that makes a big difference. So there's a lot of plows out all the time, so that's really good. As far as the summers, though, the summers are beautiful. Summers here, um, I find that they're quite hot. Not crazy hot. The average is about 23, 24 degrees, but they're quite hot, and it stays. It seems it's one thing I noticed between the difference between Calgary and Edmonton. As the day goes on, the day gets hotter.
Mhm.
Typically in the afternoon, towards the early evening, starts to cool off a little bit. It actually gets a little bit hotter here, and
Mhm.
actually the degrees do go up a couple, 1 or 2 degrees. It does get a bit warmer, and it stays warm until about 10 or 11 o'clock at night. So you could be out on your deck at 10, 11 o'clock at night and still be enjoying the weather, and it's still quite warm.
Mhm.
Not crazy hot, but quite warm that you could be out there, sleeveless and be quite happy.
Right.
So our summers are definitely uh they're definitely warmer. Hottest month is usually July. Coldest month is January, of course.
Mhm.
And the rainy month is typically July. But again, this year something odd happened, and we had, as all of Alberta has had, the downpour, which we're very blessed for because we've had a lot of forest fires, and
Mhm.
we were praying for the rain, so it really cleared it up because we had a lot of smoke here,
Mhm.
with the forest fires. But now the rain has put out most of them, and it's nice and clear, and weather's beautiful.
Right on. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then, like you said, Calgary, I would say summers are somewhat similar, other than the evenings here can get a little bit cooler, a little bit quicker.
Hmm.
It is nice because the days are long as far as daylight.
Hmm.
So you can go right up to 11 o'clock on the longest days. So 10, 11, it's light out and it's nice, and you
Yeah.
can like spending time outside like we do. It's really quite enjoyable. Winters here in Calgary, like you mentioned, we have Chinooks. I think you mentioned that, but what a Chinook is we get these warm winds that come from the west, and they come over the mountains. And in a very short period of time, we can go from -20 if it's really cold, and go into the plus figures within like 4 hours. So it's really,
Mm.
uh, you have to be prepared with the right clothing, because again, it can go from, again, plus, let's say, plus, even +10 to -20 quite quickly when the wind stops. So you want to make sure you have the right clothing for that. So I personally really enjoy that. It really, for me, shortens the winter. Our winters are really mostly mild. Our average temperature is probably -5 to -10, and so,
Mm.
which is very easy to take. It's not that hard. And we do get those snaps of very cold. January and February, we can get into that -30, -35, and then if there's a wind chill, that can take us into the -45, 40s, which is
Right.
really cold. But those don't last. They do end, and of course, you get the next week, you get this nice Chinook that make quite a
Yeah.
bit more. All the snow melts, and we got a big slush living in the slushy. So
Hmm.
lots of ice can form in that situation too. But anyway, our summers again are not long enough, in my opinion. But we do have the four seasons. Sometimes fall and spring are very short, as you mentioned. It just depends
Hmm.
when the cold weather moves in. Okay, so that gives you a little bit about each city, and maybe Sonia, if you can maybe give us your take on the pros and cons of each city, kind of maybe highlight what you like, what you don't like, and just tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, Dean. So, having lived in both cities, I obviously have some opinion on both. Honestly, I think they're both beautiful cities. They're both really great cities. I have still a leaning towards Calgary, just because Calgary had been my city for so long. Edmonton's newer to me, but as far as that goes, because I've been selling here for a duration of 5 years. However, what attracts me to Calgary is the Chinooks. It is fantastic. The topography of Calgary is beautiful also, because you've got lots of beautiful views. You're very close to the mountains. But what really attracts me to Edmonton is the cost of living, in particular housing. That being the topic of our conversation, particular housing is a huge difference. For me, there's family members here, and Edmonton is a little bit more laid back, I would say, than Calgary. Calgary's a beautiful, like I said, the people are wonderful. Both cities, people are amazing. But I find Edmontonians a little bit more laid back. They're very, they're almost like everybody's family here. So that's, yeah. But what I don't, of course, there's some negatives too. The winter, of course, and the roads, the potholes. I'm sorry, but we have these ridiculous potholes because our winters are so harsh. And we have a running joke here in Edmonton. We have 2 seasons: winter and construction. Because all summer we're fixing the potholes from the winter. But yeah, so both, like I say, both cities have their merits, and I'd highly recommend anyone looking to look at both cities, because each one has its pros and cons, but either way, both are very good. So whatever choice you make at the end of the day is a good choice. Alberta is great.
So if people want to, that's good. So if people want to ask you questions, how can they reach you? Like, how does that work? If they want to buy a house, that kind
absolutely. of thing. Please, feel free to reach out to me. I believe my information and contact information will be at the end of the video. So please feel free to reach out. Ask me any questions. I'm open to just conversation and just sort of giving you a sense of the ways of Edmonton, if you like. If you want more questions or more deeper answers, I'd be more than happy to assist.
All right, so that kind of wraps up the Edmonton and Calgary debate, and hopefully this has helped you make a decision on maybe which direction you want to go. Feel free to reach out to either of us. Sonia, I appreciate you taking the time to join us, and again, if you're thinking about making a move to Alberta, or Calgary or Edmonton, give us a call. We'd love to chat with you and help you make the decision about making your move to Alberta a smooth one. So once again, thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next video.